I was blessed to work under Ronnie Jackson when he was the head coach at Sequoia. 3 years in, we sort of switched roles. He stayed on. He's been coaching a while, so I took over as the head job. And again, like I said, when you start being a head football coach, you think you're ready. But it's on-the-job training. My first 3 years were a very learning experience. I guarantee for me is I've made a whole lot of mistakes. I just don't try to make them twice. So during those 3 years, it was a learning curve for us, trying to find a system, trying to find something that our young man could grab hold of, no matter what our talent was. To me, for coaching, trying to find a system that fits into the kids, because you can't go out and recruit. And at least the schools I'm from. And,
that's right.
And so you've got to find a way to fit them into a successful program, a successful system, and it's an ongoing process I've been doing for 17 years at Sequoia, and it's just like everything else. It keeps evolving as offenses and defenses changes. Your system changes too for success. I was able to go in and we were everybody's homecoming float early on at Sequoia, then we became almost a playoff team every year from 1997 on to 2008. So it became a lot of tradition, a winning tradition. And I had an opportunity to go to a new school with my son being a freshman, entering the 9th grade year. And I always told my wife, sometimes as coaches, you don't get to pick and choose what time they tell you to go or whatever. So I've been blessed to have that opportunity. Sequoia was great for me. It's like home to me. But for the chance for my son was going to be a freshman, I told my wife, who's a great supporter. Sherry's been with me for a long, long time, and as a coach's wife, always not the easiest job.
Yeah,
the chance for him to be part of something new. I remember that, how you're the last of the first at Sequoia, and you always remember that. So he had a chance coming in as a freshman at Lambert, and so we made the move, and I started a brand new school there. And he had a great experience. Went on with a baseball scholarship to University of South Carolina.
Congratulations, that's great.
It worked out well for him. He played football and baseball, and so he might not have those baseball opportunities at Sequoia that he did at Lambert. And so it all, God puts you in the place you should be. Then I had an opportunity to go to Dawson County, which. What intrigues me, being able to have one high school in one town, in one community, no more trying to compete with, when I was at Lambert, within a 15, 20-minute circle, there's 6 to 7, 6A high schools. Now your Super 44 high schools are right there together, so you're always, nobody belonged to anything.
Right.
And, I just felt like that this place could be, I didn't really know their history. I didn't care, because history is where you are right now. For me,
That's right.
anyway.
Yes, sir.
And when the opportunity, the job opened up, I felt like it would be a great opportunity to start something, even though it would be my first school, not being brand new. Still trying to change the culture and build a tradition. The first thing about being a really good coach is making sure you have really good people around you. And,
because I know you're not doing it by yourself.
And like I said, just like we talked about Chris Parker, he was my OC back at Lambert when we had success. I think I've had probably either 8 to 9 coaches that were under me that are now head coaches or been head coaches in Georgia, or one in Ohio.
And I think they're all successful.
Yeah, they're all successful, and they all sort of hang on to some of the systems we all work together. So again, like I said, it's I feel blessed to be a part of their lives, because they actually made my life a whole lot easier. And here with Andy LeBlanc and Brent Cox and the staff I've adopted here at Dawson, it's been a win-win for all of us. They've really embraced the system, which actually for me starts in the weight room. I'm a big speed strength guy, and our job is, as you talked about, trying to be a good coach. Our job is to get your kids to potential. It's all about, you're not going to win the Kentucky Derby with a bunch of mules, so you got to really develop them to thoroughbreds.
Right.
And that starts with nutrition, with an action plan, stopping, starting. People say, what's the definition of speed? It's who can stop first. So we spend a lot of time on teaching those movement efficiencies, along with building the horsepower in the weight room, then put them in a system that They know where the race is, and football is a 5-yard race.
That's right.
And that's all it is.
That's right.
And you got 6 seconds to get done. And so it's not like I'm going out here to run 100 meters.
That's right.
And so we can get the young men to buy in. And I sort of have like a racehorse philosophy. We don't practice long. We're a 2-hour practice team. I told somebody, you work less than a day with me. We do 7 hours a week. My coaches do a lot of preparation on the weekends. When we meet, but for my players, we try to keep them fresh. We go high intensity. We play high intensity on the field. We attack on defense, attack on offense. You know, I'm dangerous because I'm in retirement, so I can just let it fly. But I have fun doing it. And,
That's right.
And the big thing is, you know, we do 2 hours Monday, 2 hours Tuesday, 2 hours Wednesday, an hour on Thursday, and kids are excited, they're fresh. I didn't always do that early in my career, but as I've gotten older, you know, it's just like McDonald's and just like philosophy. You got to change with the times, or you become a dinosaur, and they're all extinct. So. Again, I try to leave, I mean, you know, the other philosophy I use, the term I use, take your what ifs out. You know, I try to make sure you know, we teach them what to eat, fuel the body, how many calories you can eat. You know, we do a test with them to lay out a plan for them. I had that at Lambert. Sequoia, I've not implemented yet in Dawson. I mean, just because I got here in April, there was so much we're trying to do, but I will have that in January. We actually will give them a weekly list of how many times to eat, what choices to eat, you know, foods to eat, what should your plate look like, you know, if you look at it, you know, how much meat should you eat? It should be about the size of your fist. You need to put that down. Then as far as vegetables and that should be almost like a handful, and you want to eat a rainbow. So the more color you have on the plate, the better you're going to be. So again, it's just, you know, you educate, you know, you sell, and you train, and then you maximize your training, and you want results, and again, you want your kids fit, not fat.
Right.
And nutrition is part of that, and the buy-in is they start seeing a change. And again, I'm a whole lot better coach with a lot better athlete. And in high school, you have them where you have that pattern that you can build with them at that age and embrace with them. I've got guys that, you know, may or may not started for me or played a lot for me in the past. They have kept the same training and nutrition they did in the program, and that stings a lot because it's a life principle. And that's what we are as coach. We're more than just a football program. I have one young man who just texted me, he's coaching now, that he was a young man that transferred to me. I won't mention his name, but he was a huge young man. We used to call him butt crack because every time he would snap the football, we couldn't have pants to fit him. Right. You know, and I really felt bad for him put him on a program. Now he had to do the work. As coaches, we lay out the roadmap. Right. But they've got to make the journey. That's right. And that young man, he graduated with me, was down to about 190 pounds. Wow. And it's transformed, whole life change. And I just got an email from him the other day. He's out coaching, and gosh, he's just, you know, that's awesome. Seeing change like that, it means more than, you know, winning a football game. To be honest with you. Absolutely. I'm learning 3A. Do not know a whole lot about it, but I will say throughout our region, what you're going to get is, I think I've seen one or two athletes better than when I played in 6A. Right. To be honest with you, there's just not a list of 11 a lot of times, and then when we have injuries, it depletes you some. When you can have 170 on your football program. Injuries are less. Next one in doesn't look, you know, he's not way down the line. Gotcha. And so, you know, but really football's football. And I think the quality of football that I've seen in 3A, again, it's been great, enough competition for me, trust me. Right. And, so I haven't seen that much difference other than probably the ability to platoon, the ability to have better backups. Right. When you put your seconds in, sometimes you see a major drop off where you're in the bigger schools, maybe not as much. You know, but all in coaching and all. So there's really, I can't really say I've seen a whole lot of difference. And you probably ask Chris Parker, Pickens, he'd probably say the same thing as
Yeah,
that.
and he has.
Right. So I just think, it's just, there's good quality football. You're in Georgia.
Yeah, it's good football.
And when you're in Georgia, you're going to play against good football. That's the reason it's fun. That's the reason when college coaches come in, they don't really care what, if you can play football, it doesn't matter what level you're at.
1, 5, 6, 9.
And they can tell. They're experts at their job. They see you move, see you react, and they see if you can play. They could watch you in the air and say, well, he can play for me. What I would say is, I've been around the bigger schools, but as far as community and the people engulfing football, there's
much better.
It's an environment that town environment that they belong and want to be. It's a part of them, and most of these people went to that same school.
That's right.
So it's tradition where me coming from these other schools, Lambert's been around since '09, so it has no fan base. Okay,
right.
And so where you have Fannin and Gilmer, I remember playing those guys back when I was at Sequoia in 1990. When we first started, it was a pickup team. They beat us because we were beginning program. It was pretty bad, but I still remember going up there. It was, the first time I came to Gilmer was this year, and even Fannin was this year, and I hadn't been back since 1990. 91, 92, we used to play them. So, but what hasn't changed is that atmosphere.
Right, yeah.
That hasn't changed. It's football.
That's right.
It's Friday night football. People shut it down.
That's right.
And want to be a part of it, and let's go see my high school team.
That's right.
And gosh.
You don't get that in the bigger schools.
You get none of that. If you got a very shallow, you're wide and shallow.
Right, right.
When you go to Fannin, Gilmer, Dawson, you may not be that big, but you run very deep.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody.
And there's a lot of pride.
Everybody.
I've seen a whole lot of Dawson County football shirts running around.
That's great.
Which makes me excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
The big thing is, and I told the boys, they're winners to me regardless of the score. Okay, and they are. They have done things here that have set records for Dawson County to be measured. My theme at the beginning of the year was, remember those who played before you, set the standard for those who follow. That was my 2015 thing. And it worked out where these boys were playing for those Dawson County for 50 years who have worked hard and had success and been a part of something. And these young men remember them and enjoy it and part of the tradition, and we're able to come out here and set a new standard for the other Dawson County underneath them have to look up and try to match. And that's how you start tradition. That's how you build tradition. That's how you build the pride. You set the expectations. You change the culture. And so it's something that I think when I set that theme out this year, I didn't know it would unfold that way.
Right.
But, God's blessed me to be able to give me the opportunity to have success and do that. Growing the program, that game actually, they out-coached us, outplayed us. We had all three phases, you name it. I think my son punts for me. I think he knocked out two people in our stands. He punted them so shallow into the stands. But that was a game that was a point for us to unite us because we were starting to feel pretty good about ourselves.
Right.
And in this football game, football is a very humbling sport. Once you think you've reached success and you get complacent, and that was a valuable lesson for just watching our kids approach. They just had a big game the week before and feeling
pretty good that way.
Well, again, when you're not used to having success, you forget what it is to work and earn it. And any week you can get beat by anybody. And Fannin was a good football team. They do a lot of great things, and Coach Bell was a great coach.